This week we're going to take a look at the latest crop condition index and progress trends for beans. We're going to turn our attention to weather as the crop progresses here through the critical pod fill period in August. We're going to take a look at the latest trends in export sales, specifically old crop and new crop trends. And we're going to wrap things up the long-term review of November soybean futures. Hi, this is Brian Basting with Advanced Trading. Let's talk about the soybean market. We've moved into the last half of August here, and the soybean market is turning exceptionally volatile. Let's start out this week taking a look at the latest crop condition ratings from the USDA. USDA came out here on Monday of this week, pegged nationwide good to excellent for beans at 61%. Notice that's down 1 point from last week, and it's below 68% from last year. We did see some improvement in Iowa and Nebraska. We saw some deterioration across Minnesota, South Dakota, as well as parts of Wisconsin and Michigan. Let's take a look at our aggregate crop condition index here. Notice it's kind of in the middle of several years here. We've seen years where the index has been higher here in mid-August. For example, 24 and 25 as well as 20. But you have to go back to some previous years, including 21, 19, and 23 where the index was lower. So it's critical that we continue to watch weather trends and continue to manage price movement as this crop proceeds. Let's take a look at crop progress now. Soybean setting pods here about 85% here in the middle of August. Soybean setting pods on average increased about 13% from August 16th to the 30th. So all else being equal, we'll be approaching 100% pod set by the end of the month. Of course, weather is still critical to bean yields here in August. Let's take a look at the short-term trends. Our slides this week, as usual, are courtesy of T-Storm Weather. Of course, we want to take a moment here to acknowledge the historic rainfall amounts we've seen over the last 2 weeks. Specifically looking at this map here, looking across central Illinois, moving over into most of Indiana, and particularly western Ohio, tremendous volumes of rain. It's impossible to determine what the yield effect may be, but we'll be keeping a close eye on those crop condition ratings moving forward for you. Let's take a look at the short-term forecast. This is through Sunday of this week. Notice we're looking at still some additional rain, but much lighter totals. Maybe only 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch over across that green area. What about temperatures? Toward the end of the month, it looks like it's going to cool off here quite a bit as we wrap up the month of August compared to where we've been temperature-wise. Let's take a look at precip totals now over the next 2 weeks. Well, the next 2 weeks here, we're looking at a much drier pattern, particularly across the heart of the Corn Belt and eastern Corn Belt, closer to normal across Nebraska, some of those areas, but again, a much drier pattern here than we've seen recently. Let's shift gears now and take a look at the latest trends in unshipped export sales for beans. We're looking at old crop here first. Of course, there's only a couple weeks left in the old crop year. The old crop book is at a 3-year low. We continue to see tremendous competition from Brazil. The story's a bit different for new crop, however, as China come in here and purchase quite a bit of new crop beans from the U.S. We're looking at a 3-year high in unshipped bean sales. Notice, however, it's still well below those levels we saw 4, 5, 6 years ago. It'll be critical to monitor what happens between the summit here in September between the President and President Xi Jinping of China. Let's wrap things up this week looking at trends in November beans. Now, November beans, as we tape here on Tuesday, have had a nice rebound, back over $12 a bushel, near $12.25, still shy of those summer highs, but it's critical here to acknowledge the potential for price volatility between now and harvest, both to the upside and to the downside. That's why it's critical that you continue to work closely with your trusted risk management advisor to manage price movement and avoid price prediction. Now, if you'd like more information, please feel free to contact us at 309-664-2300. We'll put you in contact with one of our risk management consultants who'll be happy to visit with you at your convenience. And remember, we upload every Wednesday. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss an update. Thanks a lot. Have a good week.